Not Quite Right features discussions that are unfiltered and uncensored and may include themes that are inappropriate for younger listeners. Also, I swear a lot.
Something doesn't seem quite right.
Welcome to Not Quite Right. My name's Ed.
And I'm Amanda.
You know what end of the stick we're at right now?
Oh, no.
We're at the pointy end.
The aggressive end.
The very pointy end of the stick where we give away the pointy trophy.
Yes, well, that's the good part, right? I'm not sure how good the stick is.
You either get the trophy or you get the stick, and you get what you get and you don't get upset. That's what we say here at Not Quite Right. But anyway,
that aside,
that being said,
detour aside,
it's the shortlist episode.
It's the shortlist. Hooray! We're here.
We are
final anti-prompt shortlist.
It is. Shortlist for the October 2025 round of the Not Quite Right prize. Super excited about this one. Some really great stories. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
All right. Wow. Okay.
I haven't even had any wine yet.
I probably wouldn't have phrased it that way, but I feel the same way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's start with Dean. Let's fucking get Dean on the line. How's the energy, Amanda?
This is great. I love it.
So let's get into it. Let's start with the wild cards, as we always do. And let's get Dean on the line, see what he has to say for himself.
Hello, Ed. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Dean.
Hello, everybody. How are you, Ed? You good?
I'm all right. How are you, Dean?
Yeah, well, no, I'm okay. I just want to check you're right.
Yeah, thanks for checking in.
This is exciting. I'm always very honoured to get to give out a wild card as well. Well, without much further ado.
Who'd you pick? Tell us.
Who did I pick? Well, I'll tell you the name of the story I picked. I actually called it out briefly in the long list episode last week. So there's a little clue, but you don't need to wait for too much longer because I'm going to tell you the title right now. Yeah, so don't rush back to the long list. Just keep listening. It's coming.
Drum roll? Should we do a drum roll?
We'll do a drum roll.
The title is Guided Relaxation, and that story is by Alan Arwin. Congratulations. I'll give you a little bit of a very quick synopsis of why I thought it was great. I thought it just had so much fun with the anti-prompt, and I wanted to reward someone that did something fun with the anti-prompt, seeing as we're saying goodbye to it. And like the first line is, begin by stilling yourself in the moment. You can do this by sitting, lying, or even standing up. Try to find a quiet place. And so interspersed with these kind of mantras, we've got the person kind of who's anything but relaxed and can't seem to keep their mind from relaxing. And so there's this kind of juxtaposition that plays its way through the story, which I thought was a lot of fun.
Very relatable.
Yeah.
You might say.
Yeah, I thought it was a really fitting way to say goodbye to the anti-prompt. So well done, Alan, for your story, and I'll let you guys get on with the rest of the episode. But yeah, congrats.
Congrats, Alan, and thank you, Dean.
Yeah, thank you, Dean.
Right on.
So is it my turn now?
Yeah,
do I get to do my one?
It.
All right.
Hurry.
Oh,
quick.
God. You really are excited. Well, I'm excited too. And my wild card goes to Lucy Mack with My Brother. This story actually made me bawl my eyes out. I don't know what happened to me. I was hormonal maybe, but also like just a really powerful story. And on that basis, why didn't it make the shortlist, honestly? It was bloody close. It was very, very close. And I guess I couldn't get it in on the power of my emotional response alone. But really powerful story. And it was talking about this man who had returned from war. He'd lost his brother in the war and was saying goodbye to him. And I don't know what it was. There was just this like real genuine sense of loss. And the way that this man kept referring to his brother as my brother, like not his name, just my brother. It really got to me. And yeah, I just wanted to say big congratulations, Lucy, on a very powerful story. And thank you so much, like, you know, for making me cry, but for making me feel something. And I really appreciated it.
Yeah, it was a great story. And actually, I read out the opening line on the long list episode as one of my favourite lines. It definitely had a compelling mood about it. And I would say it definitely left you with an impression. That's for sure. Just generally, that was one of the stories, as we mentioned in the last episode, the shortlist was very hard fought. And there are about 10 stories that had a real chance of the shortlist, and this was one of them. So
absolutely. So, you know, I hope you accept this wild card as a token of our appreciation.
And so my wild card is one that narrowly missed out on the long list. It was, I think, probably the 41st in the list.
It was.
So you came very close, and the story was The Little Mug with the Christmas Pudding by Hope Walker.
Another emotional story.
Yeah, it was. And the fact that it was number 41 and just missed out on the long list, it felt a little bit unfair to me. So I wanted to give it a little shout out here and a little token of appreciation. So it's a poignant little story about a woman struggling with the disappointment of not being able to fall pregnant. So had some really great emotional depth, and it definitely made me feel something.
Well, congratulations, Hope.
So congratulations to all of our wildcard winners. But now let's move on to our shortlist proper.
I just want to highlight at the start of this, and we don't want to give away any spoilers or anything like that, but I did just want to sort of suggest to people that there are some pretty dark and disturbing things that we will be reading about in this episode. So if you're not feeling in a good place right now, maybe save this for another time. If you need more context, you can maybe approach it in the written form on our website before, you listen. But either way, just a little word of caution, I guess, a little content warning of what's to come. All right, so in 6th place we have The Ghosts You Bring With You by Chris Doty Dunn. You decided to move into this house, even after reading the disclosures. Maybe you don't believe in ghosts. Maybe you made the same joke I did about a pair of spectral hands to help a single mum with chores. Regardless, if you're holding this letter, you're also holding the keys. So, your new home is not haunted. Mrs. Phillips lives next door. She'll bring peach cobbler and peer around you into the foyer, asking if you know what happened here. If you've seen or heard strange things. Don't let her scare you. Just say you don't believe in all that and that you'll return the dish soon. Thanks for the welcome. You'll hear footsteps in the attic late at night. My father's boots when he'd come home reeking of whiskey and rage. They might sound different to you, like whatever scares you the most. But it's just wind through the rafters. Eyes will peer in through the windows at full moon. They looked bleary and bloodshot to me, but Jenny saw that bully, Nancy Elliott. No matter whose faces they wear, know that it's possums or raccoons, nothing more. Draw the blinds. Go to bed. The lights will turn off and on by themselves. Old wiring is all. There's no pattern in the flashes. No messages in Morse code from long-dead grandmothers who were the only refuge from the fighting. You won't want to hear the things they have her say anyway. The doors will get stuck. Old houses settle. If you find yourself trapped, close your eyes and pretend you've locked yourself in a closet until the screaming stops. When it's quiet and you come out, at least Mum won't be crying on the couch, holding a bag of ice against her eye. The most important rule, though, as important as remembering that the house is not haunted, is this. If your loved ones are scared, don't leave them alone. Don't give Jenny a peck on the cheek and run off to work like I did. You have to stay until her terror subsides with the rising sun. Because the things that live in this house will feed on your fear, twist it and point it back at you. Don't let them know you've seen or heard them. Don't scream and don't run, because every reaction wears you down until it's too late for me. I thought I'd lost my mind. Dad had clawed his way out of his grave to follow us. But the only ghosts here are the ones you've brought with you. And they'd follow you anywhere. Now you have rational explanations. There's no reason to be afraid, no matter what you see or hear. I hope this letter helps you. You probably won't see her. She's my fear, not yours. But if you catch a glimpse of an 11-year-old girl with pigtails and a red dress hanging in the upstairs closet, tell her Mummy's so sorry for not believing how scared she was of Nancy.
So congratulations, Chris, on your story and your 6th place. Well, obviously we love this story. I think for me, have you ever heard the quote, "There's no haunted houses, only haunted people"?
Oh, no. But yes,
So I think
very
that,
apt.
yeah, it embodies this story, which is very much about, I mean, I guess there is a little bit of a uncertainty about whether the house is in fact haunted, right? There's some clues that point into that direction. But it is that theme, this idea that everyone has their demons, I guess, and their things that scare them. And in this story, there are some very macabre events, like the daughter of the person writing the letter hanging in the closet. And it's uncertain whether it was the house or whether it was Nancy. But I guess that's not the point. The point is that people can be haunted and you can never really run from that.
Yeah.
Never really run from the things that scare you.
Yeah, you've got the fear, but also I think it's that universal experience of not being able to escape it, right? Like it's this idea that it's part of you.
Yeah.
And it's not this external thing really at all. And that's what this story tapped into. I feel like it's earned the unique distinction of being like one of the very few ghost stories that actually makes me feel scared.
Yeah. And I love also the fact that it's written as a letter, obviously, as a response to the anti-prompt. But there's a little bit of implied backstory as well. Obviously, the person who's writing the letter was living in the house and they're running from what happened in the house. Like, if that happened in the house that you lived in, you probably couldn't live in that house anymore.
No, but like, could you live anywhere? You know, like that's still going to be carried with you to the next house.
She's trying to run away from her ghost and knows that it's impossible. But meanwhile, now this house has the reputation of being a haunted house because of what happened there. But also mentioned in this story are a number of past events that have happened in the house. And that's like a fact of life, that houses are just full of bad things happening all the time. And in that respect, every house is haunted and no house is haunted because really it's us that bring that energy to our own lives. And I thought this encapsulated all of that in a way that I hadn't really seen before.
I agree. So thanks for that, Chris, and congratulations on your 6th placing.
And now in 5th place, someone who's actually made the shortlist once before and is back for more. So in 5th place we have The Grief by Chloe Page. Once again, I lie underneath my parents' backyard gum tree, my mouth parched shut from the grief. The tree's papery branches reach for the cloudy grey, the way I reached splay-fingered for Mum. The rusty clothesline squeaks, the same Hills hoist I swung on in '96 when Tully's water restrictions ended. Dad sprayed the hose just 'cause he could, laughing, "Now this is living, Josh. Drink it in while it lasts." It didn't last. The griefs made a new drought inside me. But there's got to be something to drink somewhere else. I stand, staggering away from the house I inherited, past the corner milk bar, past the playground, and to the airport, leaving Tully behind. When the plane coughs me out into dusty, orange Macathra, the grief follows me here. Course it bloody does. My lips shrivel into a scowl. I shuffle into a muggy coffee shop with the ceiling fan thwapping around grit. The red-headed, pierced-lipped barista leans forward, all smiles and drink-me-in cleavage. If I could, I'd scrape my swollen, throbbing tongue over her piercing, kiss her mouth open, steal her saliva. She offers me her phone number, but I'm staring at the steaming mug she clinks onto a saucer. It's coffee, not Tully milk bar coffee. I smash it onto the floor and piss off back to the airport. A day spent bumbling around Alice Springs. Then I cuff a tourist for climbing Uluru, like how I climbed Tully's playground. A month in Kalgoorlie. The grief cracks my mouth's film of dried sweat because I saw bushfire-bitten gum leaf shaped like Tully's golden gumboot monument. A year in Yulara, and 2 in Oodnadatta, and 3 or 30 in Cooperative, and lost count at Lyndhurst. And fuck this. Fuck losing myself in the Spinifex. Home's Tully. Soggy verandas and backyard hoses. People I never wanted to say goodbye to. So, I fly home. Rumbling thunderclouds blacken Tully as I stagger through humid streets, past the golden gumboot, and freeze. Playground's gone. The milk bars, the woolies. No. I puppeteer my creaky limbs to my parents' house. In the window, a wide-eyed, cobweb-trapped reflection stares back. It's me. All grey hair and saggy jowls. The grief salts my throat. I lived a whole life without drinking it in. I never smelled the coffee or listened to Dreamtime stories. I never knew the joy from chatting to tourists or the love from marrying a smiling redhead or the bliss from reading our kids Possum Magic while rain splattered the roof, all because I let the grief evaporate me and now I'm dying of thirst. I step away from the window. With the resignation, I head to the backyard. Once again, I lie underneath my parents' gum tree, admiring the green, rustling leaves swaying against the glorious rain cloud bloom above, until I can't anymore. Until my ribs stick up from the ground like white saplings. Until rain falls and kisses me goodbye. Until the grief decays with me and my mouth opens, drinking from the sky.
So congratulations again, Chloe, on another really, well, the last story is a bit of fun. This story goes a little bit deeper, I guess. And yeah, I found it very powerful and moving. So thank you.
It still has that poetry of Wanted, Dead or Alive, which was Chloe's last shortlisted story, last round. That beautiful cadence and that repetition we get instead of the repetition of her last story, it was that up in flames. And now we get the repetition of grief and that great take on the anti-prompt of not naming your emotions. Well, here they're being named and they're being brought to life and they're treated as like an entity that takes over this character's life as they try to search for home, basically, try to find a home that is lost. And, you know, there's that saying again that you can never truly return home because it's changed. He craves the milk bar coffee and goes back home and, of course, the milk bar's gone and he's let his life slip away while letting the grief take over.
It's tragic. And you say poetry, right? Also, a lot of Poe here too, I have to say. Like this idea of dying of thirst, like that is just permeates the entire story and the choices of words throughout. And as Aussies, we are very familiar with that drought vibe, right? Even if you live as we do in a coastal town, it's still an issue here. Yeah. And I found that to be incredibly resonant and reflective of what it's like, especially in Central Australia, which a lot of these towns mentioned are Central Australian towns. And I think that was a really interesting place to take it, to compare grief to like this idea of being dried out. Yeah. Like you're this husk. And the image at the end there of the bones like sticking out of the ground was a really compelling one as well. Like you just imagine that picked out skeleton, right? Just lying there and there's nothing left. And I thought that was incredibly beautiful. Very, very sad. But also, I don't know, like even though it ends in such a dark way, like we're talking about storm clouds coming, like maybe there is potential for that rain to regenerate and bring something new, you know, and so you hope that it's never too late. That's where I took it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess for the way I took it is it may be too late for the character, but it's never too late for the reader, right? Because
that's true.
It's a little bit of that kind of reflection. If you read this story and it speaks to you, maybe you've had this experience. And
well, we've all got regrets in our lives, things that we missed out on because maybe we just weren't ready to emotionally to take them on. So very powerful stuff. And I do love to see this. You know, we saw it with Greg. He contains multitudes, and I think we can say that Chloe contains multitudes as well, and it's really impressive to see. So well done.
Yeah, absolutely. An excellent achievement. Well done, Chloe. So now we have our fourth place getter. And in fourth place is Step Right Up by Dawn Goulet. Hell is what we called her. Heloise Ann Law Lefebvre. Helly with the greenest eyes and the blackest hair. Helly with lips like cherries. She joined us in Baton Rouge, but always swore she was born in Paris. I, for one, believed her. We had an old carny named Claude, a master with chisel or saw, and he made the whole thing to her precise specifications. The raised platform, the stool, and kissing booth spelled out in red and gold, but with the H always coming loose, swinging down from its nail. A ghost, Ellie said. I didn't go in for such things, to be honest, but I'd have believed the sky was green if Helly told me it was so. Ah, you found my initials there. Don't look surprised. A tattooed man can draw on more than flesh. Those were the posters that brought the crowds. My bearded lady, my flying trapeze, my lion tamer with the thrashing whip. Kissing booth, Ellie said. 5-cent smooches. Pucker up for a real French kiss. You should have seen her work a crowd, winking and pouting, flouncing her skirts. The whistles when she pushed a man down onto her stool, when she tied the red silk scarf across his eyes. He was not likely to get a kiss from our Helly, though, was he? And he knew it, smiling as the crowd jeered. She'd pass a rosebud across his lips, or a finger dipped in chocolate. She'd hold her little dog up for a lick, or let Rosie the elephant prod him with a quivering trunk. The crowd roared. The scarf was lifted, and the man sallied forth to be slapped on the back and bought drinks. Why suffer such indignities? Why pay for it? Only this. 1 in 100, 200, 5 received a proper kiss from our Helly. A kiss that took a man's breath away, that set the crowd afire, that lingered long until all was quiet, save the lone whistle of an old-timer, the better part of a century under his belt, who had, for all he'd seen in this world, never been kissed like that. The line for Helly's booth wound round the midway. But all things end, don't they? There was a contest. The soda company needed a new logo, and I gave them a scroll of white letters against a field of red. They asked me to come draw for them, if you can believe it. Beach beauties, jolly Santas, flush-faced lads on bikes, all tipping back dewy bottles of their soda pop. And so I took leave of the circus. As I left my tent in the half-lit dawn, Helly stepped from the shadows and took my arm. She never minded the pictures there, you know. She traced them with her fingers. "Step right up, friend," she said, and sat me down on her stool. What do you think? Was I 1 in 100? 200? 5? Wouldn't you like to know?
So congratulations, Dawn, on a really fun story with a fun voice as well.
Yeah, very cool voice.
What I loved most about this one was the anti-prompt take. Like, we've got kiss and tell or kiss and don't tell. And in this case, it's kiss and don't show, right? And I thought that was really fun. Like, just a fun little twist. And that ending is so perfect for this story as well. Even though you don't get to know what happened, it's such a perfect vibe.
What I liked about this story as well is the way it handles setting and time. Like, so we instantly know where this is and when this is, you know, turn of the 20th century or early kind of 20th century, late 19th century, whatever the case may be. We have the reference to Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And
which
like
is
the Santa.
not accurate and factual, right? But in terms of this being a historical fiction, this is just some other character and it's implied that it's Coke, but it perfectly sets up exactly that time period.
Yeah, so we don't have to, it doesn't have to be said at all. So I thought that was a really great way of handling that, just kind of throwing us in. And it's like, that's a way of showing.
Yeah.
So
ironically.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this was a thing. Is that how kissing booths have always worked? That it's like a bit of a scam?
No, I don't know. I don't know the history. I had assumed that you'd get a kiss.
Yeah, that's what I'd always
But that's
assumed.
what makes Helly so special, is that she wouldn't give you a kiss unless you like really deserved it, kind of
unless
thing.
you drew the Coke logo. I mean, mate,
unless she was
going to
kiss you anyway. Like, what a scam.
No, but absolutely lots of fun. And another thing I noticed about this one too was that it had a very clear beginning, middle, end. You know how we sometimes talk about that as if it's this thing that should be assumed and known, but it's still somehow elusive.
Yeah.
This one really did have it all, and in such clear terms. I mean, it even talks about all things must come to an end. Even though the story's fun and it's just about a kissing booth and whatnot, it still carries this kind of melancholy kind of feeling, like this feeling of loss.
Yeah, that's true.
And things that, you know, like the good old days are gone kind of thing. And I found that really poignant as well.
Yeah.
The other thing too, so I talked about how the anti-prompt take is this kiss and don't show kind of thing. But also it's told as an oral history, right? It's being told to us, this story. So that was a very clear piece of this puzzle as well. But ultimately just completely evocative on every level. Great sense of voice, great character development, a nice emotional hook there as well. So overall, just a really fantastic piece of writing.
Agreed. And well done, Dawn, on your 4th place. But now we move to the podium.
Yeah, top 3. Exciting. What is it that's so special about the top 3?
So, well, it's like the Olympic thing. It's the podium. There's 3 people.
But why?
Because the rule 3. There's got to be gold, silver, and bronze. You can't just be like gold, silver, and suck it. Anyway.
So, in 3rd place, we have The Way Out by Stephen Huff. Then there was the year of the shedpocalypse, when all the men went into their sheds. That makes it sound global, but as far as we know, it was confined to an L-shaped block of spearwood off Yukich Crescent. Yugoslavia had been all over the news that summer. Ethnic cleansing, camps, Milosevic, and later, learning the absent men had all been Croats. People would nod, knowingly. But Dad had been 4 when Deda and Baba emigrated, and if he shouted any louder at the airstrikes than at the football, or Johnny Howard's GST, us kids didn't notice. We didn't even have a shed, so it started with us fighting over ride-alongs on endless Bunnings trips. Then the great novelty of construction. Dad mopping his bald spot with his t-shirt, rehydrating with Emu Export, swatting stray offspring, ending, for us, when the Colorbond walls went up and Dad dragged in the remaining materials, his swag, their bedroom TV, and, with a peck Mum didn't register as goodbye, disappeared. Mum had just had Liza, her 6th, and her initial reaction was a tired shrug. If Dad wanted to yell at Champions League in the early hours, she'd rather he was in the shed. As for the rest, the last thing she needed was a 7th. So she started sending us out with trays and leaving the laundry unlocked for him to use the dunny. He still left early for the warehouse, coming back grease-stained and knackered, until he just stopped, and work gave him the boot. It wasn't just him. All over you could hear women shouting, pleading, banging shed doors. Soon they started coming around, bringing or receiving pots of food, minding each other's children. They said Mrs. Vlahov tried to starve her man out, but panicked and gave in after 2 weeks. For months we heard drilling, grinding, hammering. Mum put a cardboard sign on Dad's ute, and 3 days later the ute was gone. We had Wheat Bix for dinner more often. One evening, when I'd been shooed out for overhearing Mum say it was about time to run a good long spin cycle, I found the shed door ajar. Once my eyes adjusted, I saw Dad in the middle, kneeling in front of what seemed to be an empty door frame. He had hold of something down at the base of the frame, something slippery. The way he was struggling and cursing and was peeling it up, letting golden light spill out beneath. I must have gasped because he flinched, losing his grip, and whatever he'd been opening slammed shut, leaving nothing but an unpainted door frame. Other abandoned frames in various shapes loomed in the dark. I froze, expecting to cop it good. But when he turned, tears were running into his moustache. Over the following days, they all came out, thin, corpse pale, unshaven, moved back into their houses and their wives' beds, went on with their lives. All except Dan Sumich, who was never seen again, and who everyone said must have run away to Broome. But I knew better.
So congratulations, Stephen, on your 3rd place and a very deserving story. We both love this story, and we did a bit of research here, prompted us to do a bit of Googling, and it turns out the place here is real. Yukich Crescent in Spearwood in WA, and it also has a sizable Croatian population. So I wonder where this comes from for Stephen. Like, is there a personal story here, or is there like some personal connection? But it all checks out. We did the research, and also like the 90s references, the Yugoslavian war, the Bunnings and references, all that kind of
Which
stuff.
Bunnings for our North American friends is like, what do they have? Home Depot or something?
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of Home Depot, which we actually questioned because where we are in New South Wales, Bunnings is like a more recent development. But in WA, I think it started earlier. So that it all checks out. We did our research. Yeah, this is a really intriguing story and one that's really hard to like pin down. And there's a lot of great ideas that are flowing around here. There's this idea of like young families and fathers becoming detached and retreating into their sheds to kind of escape the drama.
We say this sitting in your man cave right now.
Exactly.
As your children are inside and your wife is inside.
And there's also the whole immigrant thing. We get it. We have a character who came to Australia when they were very young. I think it said 4 years old, with parents from Croatia. And myself, I immigrated to Australia when I was 3 years old with parents from Eastern Europe, not from Yugoslavia. But there is that experience there, that immigrant experience of someone who doesn't remember the old country and spent their whole life here, but still has these connections. And in this story, it's the football on the TV and being interested in what's happening in Yugoslavia, like with the war. So I can definitely empathize with that. And there's also the part of why they're in the shed is like they're searching for something. They're trying to build like maybe a portal. It kind of evokes this Stranger Things vibe of some creature. What are they searching for? Are they searching for escape? Are they searching for home? One person got out, and they say that he went to Broome, but the narrator knows better. But he never tells us. So we're left to kind of wonder.
Yeah. And we're not shown, are we?
No.
Like it's hidden from us, the meaning behind it all, I guess. I found it kind of, and look, I can't know without hopefully finding out. And Stephen, please do enlighten us what you were going for here. But for me, there was kind of a bit of a darker undertone to this. Like I just got this vibe of like almost suicidal ideation kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
This kind of retreating and disconnect and being starved out and it doesn't even matter. Like I'm so disconnected from everything and shutting down and shutting out other people. And I found that quite moving. I know that, we say that there's an epidemic really of male suicide in this country, middle-aged men. And I don't know, it tapped into that for me, this feeling of like needing escape but not really knowing why or what for. And to sort of find him in that moment, and he turns around and the tears are in his moustache, and I found that quite moving. And I loved that they all came back except for Dan. But, they did come back. They came back out of that darkness, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me, more so than I want to escape on a holiday or I want to escape to my homeland. It's more just like I don't know what I want and I just need to get out.
It's that feeling of, detachment and who am I and where do I belong, I guess. And that's the great thing about this story is it just like throws all of these related themes in together and packages them in a way that we can connect with, because we've seen these kinds of actions take place in the world. So it's mixing the realism with the surrealism, I guess, in a way that really makes you think about these themes.
Yeah, that's right. And probably worth noting as well, in as far as the anti-prompt take goes, like it's another oral history kind of thing. It's like as if it's being told as a story, and it starts like mid-sentence. And then there was was the year of the Shedpocalypse. So, I mean, I'm just getting Grandpa Simpson vibes, right? Like he's already on to his next story and the other one hasn't even finished. And I love that. I loved not only is it an oral history, but like we're right in it. We're in the midst of it already. And I thought that was really fun. So thank you, Stephen, for giving us a lot to chew on there, a lot to think about. I did enjoy it. And please do email us and let us know what you were going for, because I'd be fascinated to hear it from the author.
So congratulations, Stephen. And now let's move on to our second place, the silver medal, as it were.
And so, in second place, we have Dead Beef by Michael Stone. Sitting on the coffee table, it looked to Nadia more like an oversized glossy gummy bear with a Teletubby screen. Like a gaudy garden ornament designed by Apple or Daft Punk. She wasn't even sure it was on until, with a feeble electronic voice.
She is angry.
Who? Nadia said. Not me, you don't mean.
She is angry.
But she wasn't. Something's wrong. Nadia unfolded the card-sized owner's manual until it dwarfed her torso. Troubleshooting, where's...
She is angry.
Shush! Jesus Murphy, why'd they print the text so fine? Right over top the folds, too.
She is angry.
Shut up, Nadia snapped. That all you say? Then she laughed at herself, almost sighing. If you piss me off, it doesn't really count, she chided in that light-hearted, teasing way. The way you might do with...
She is sad.
She'd been doing remarkably well, actually, thank you very much. All on her own too, without Ms. Pritchard. That quack. She'd been useless for Nadia's postpartum. That's why Nadia had figured, why not give the AI therapy bot a try? She had the money for one now.
She is sad.
Remarkably well. She'd barely been upset pruning Joan Didion from her bookshelves, hadn't she? Had barely been upset when the car seat had peeked into the rear view and startled her. If anything, wasn't that the problem? Nadia was never the right things anyway. She knew it had been terrible to feel this way, but when Emily had first arrived, maybe because of the exhaustion, Emily hadn't felt like Nadia's child at all. Hardly felt like a child to begin with. Wasn't Nadia supposed to love her? And she did, but... So why had Emily felt to her more like some machine made of meat, to be upkept?
Error.
The bot screen flashed. Hex dead beef, invalid memory. Nadia shoved the fucking thing to the floor. Broken piece of shit.
She is angry.
Why hadn't Nadia made Paul turn the fucking car seat around, just kissed him goodbye, let them drive off?
She is angry.
Nadia shot from the couch, kicked the robot, took the phone from its cradle.
She is sad.
No. Nadia had sobbed at the email when all they'd asked for was his policy number. She wasn't completely broken, right?
She is scared.
Send someone over here, Nadia snapped into the phone. Fix your goddamn... I tried that. Listen, it needs a reboot or a factory reset or...
I am scared.
What did you say? Nadia asked. No, not you, she said. Shut up! And smothered the phone into her collar.
I am scared.
What had changed Nadia's feelings for Emily? Her first laugh, first wave goodbye? The time Emily had been propped up in her jumper and a house centipede had scurried by her feet. God, the way she'd looked at Nadia with her eyes pleading, help me. Not hungry or thirsty, not fear. Help me. Nadia unsmothered the phone. Never mind, she said. I think I got it working.
So congratulations, Michael, on your second place story. I love this story. This was one that really gave me goosebumps and chills when it all came together for me.
So you're getting goosebumps. I thought I was the only one who got goosebumps around
absolutely.
here. Okay.
And I think it's because so many things come together well here. This is one I actually commented on Twitter about, saying that this is such a good use of close third. And we see these emotional shifts in Nadia, and the narration mirrors those to the point where it says, Nadia shoved the fucking thing to the floor, broken piece of shit. Not filtered, not through her eyes. And I love the way it follows her emotional mood. And we have the layer of the robot coming in, this AI therapy bot. And we get the feeling that it's pretending. Like it's pretending to be broken. It's pretending to be a broken record. But actually, it's digging this out of her. Like it's digging these feelings out of her. She avoids thinking about her daughter, Emily, on 2 occasions. Like the first one when she says, I have to talk to this like it's a... And then she quickly changes. And then like a cradle, until finally the robot says, I'm scared. And she gets reminded of this feeling of what it was like to look after a small baby. And it makes her stop and think and really live in her grief about what happened. I felt that was really powerful. And then we have this idea of the dead beef error, which is not something I was familiar with, but I had to look it up. And it's what's referred to as a magic number. It's like a hex code that programmers use to signify a general error. But it also has that connotation of like a dead baby, and also has links into these overarching themes of machines versus people. And she thought initially of her baby as being like a little machine that she had to look after, but then came to love her.
Meat.
Yeah,
Just meat. Yeah.
Exactly. And or like a meat machine, I think it's described. And then this robot comes in, and we think of robots as being machines. And yet this one is able to get this out of her and help her through the situation. And I think it's so well done the way all of these elements come together, and it's so like relevant now in the age of AI to be talking about this stuff. And I felt like all of this stuff coming together was really powerful and an amazing story for me.
Yeah, I was looking up the error as well, and I still don't fully understand exactly what it means, but it's linked to memory too, like
memory errors. Yeah,
memory errors basically, and I thought that was quite compelling as well. But I don't know, is it worth explaining maybe for some of our newer entrants, like people who haven't been writing and learning about writing for as long? You talked about close third, and you kind of glossed over it a little bit. Do you want to explain a little bit what close third means and how it played out in this story?
Yeah, so close third is when you take a third person perspective. So the narrator being not the main character, right, but an external party who's writing the story. I think most stories are written in third person generally, but close third is where you imbue that narrative with the emotions and the feelings of the characters in a direct way. So you're not filtering through the narrative being like, Nadia felt this way and Nadia did this because she felt this way. That's very telling. And close third is, well, Nadia's not saying this is a fucking thing, broken piece of shit. The narrator is saying broken piece of shit. It's telling without telling, I guess.
And yeah, so when we say close third perspective, that's pulling us right into that character's perspective. Even though we're not there saying, I did this, I did that. We're saying, Nadia did this, Nadia did that. But the perspective is so close to her, and it's sometimes described as being on their shoulder, that the perspective is what they are seeing, what they are doing from like right there. As opposed to, for example, the other end of the extreme is the omniscient narrator who knows all and sees all, like some kind of god or whatever, and who just can flip from scene to scene in like a longer piece of fiction in a novel, and doesn't really have its own emotional context or whatever. It's just describing things and explaining things as they are, and then the characters themselves are the ones who are experiencing things. If you're going to try and write close third, and I would recommend it, I think if you're going to write third, especially in flash fiction, when you get close, when you're on that character's shoulder, it allows you to also share a lot of information about that character in a subtle way that you might not otherwise be able to do. And if it's something that interests you that maybe you're still a little bit confused about, I would absolutely recommend Googling and going down that rabbit hole, because
it's like a game changer, I think, for writing.
Yeah, super cool skill to have, and very much exemplified here. And from an anti-prompt perspective, like, again, we're back to naming emotions, right? And I think quite a few people this round went down this robot view, because robots are very much just telling, right? Like we might imagine a robot is just sort of stating facts as opposed to like elaborating on them and, giving some sort of context and colouring in the lines. They're just giving you the information, and that's the angle this story took, and I think it did it in a very effective way. There were certainly other stories that did that as well this round. And it's, you know, it's very timely now. Like we're all sort of wrestling with this idea of how much do we invite technology into our lives. And I think it's something that people have been wrestling with forever. And many of the things we take for granted now were like a moral question at some point prior to us being around. And of course, I'm thinking mainly about AI now. Like that's what is on everyone's minds at the moment. But I joked just the other day, and like I was only half joking, the things that we find kind of shocking now about our parents and grandparents and what they can't handle will be us one day. And so like if we think maybe some very traditionally held views, maybe some closed-minded views about cultures or these sorts of things. And like I can just picture in the future my grandchildren, like I've got a grandchild in a relationship with an android and I'm just like so old-fashioned that I have an issue with that. You know what I mean?
And you'd be like, you can't date a robot. And they'd be like, you can't use that word.
Yeah, exactly. And not this story in particular, but just the vibe we were getting this round, I think, of where the lines start to blur a little bit. But yeah, a sad story, but also lovely. Like it's lovely to think that you can tap into these things and not move on. You don't move on from something like that, but process and come to terms with it and learn to live with it, I guess.
Yeah. And on the long list episode, we're talking about stories and what makes a story as opposed to a vignette. You know, another thing this story does is have that moment of change. Like it ends on this moment of realization when Nadia's like, oh, actually, don't worry. It's working. And
that's just the beginning of another story, really, isn't it?
It's not tied with a bow around it. It's not like here it's all solved for you. It's just like, oh, that was a real moment and we were able to connect with it.
So yeah, powerful stuff. So thank you, Michael, for that. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, so we haven't mentioned the prizes. So Michael for second place will win $1,000.
1,000 Aussie dollars.
Not too shabby. And of course, all of our shortlist will win publication in the Not Quite Right Prize Anthology 2025, which will be hitting the shelves very soon, as soon as we can manage it. But now we're up to the grand prize, the big kahuna, the pointy end.
No, stop it.
The extremely pointy end of the stick and the recipient of the extremely pointy trophy, the one and only Not Quite Right prize for flash fiction.
And it has to be said, the final anti-prompt trophy.
That's right. If this isn't bragging rights, like no one else can win this after you.
No, that's it.
So now without further ado, the winner of the October 2025 Not Quite Right prize for flash fiction is... Men Called Russell by W.J. Arthur. The Commodore holds 5, but rules be fucked, and we crammed in, all 11 of us. Davo and Russell flat packed into the boot. Dolores sits astride Marty, tulle skirt ruched, as he drives us to Lagoon Dam. I'm squinty-eyed with bootleg whiskey, pulling party poppers. The streamers cascade into Dolores' hair, and she smiles. End of exams, end of university. The only enticement before us is the works treadmill. Marty's ski boat awaits, like Cinderella's pumpkin, to force the ball of life to spring. One glorious last chance to make wild memories. Not 1 in 11 sober, but Marty knows the route like the veins of his swollen cock. And he drives with fingers gripping Dolores' nipple, tweaking and twisting. And there she is, the devil's tool, red paint shimmering in the moonlit water. Marty likes to pay his debts, so Dolores gets first ski, stripping to her bra and panties. Dolores hangs low, the pale rope limp and sluggish between her legs. The ungainly skis a sinful yellow. Marty opens the throttle, and Dolores lifts like a messiah, a glowing Venus rising from the waters, one blessed hand erect. Marty turns the boat, sending Dolores swinging across the wake until she loses it and spins out deep. Dolores' emergency beacons detach. First one ski, then the other. I pull the rope in, but it is heavier than it should be, and I fall back. I've caught a whale, a shark, a fucking $100,000 tuna fish for Japan. The others guffaw, but we spool it in nonetheless. Our paycheck for tonight's antics. Our just reward. Dolores is on the end of the line, and we stop for a moment, letting her hang in the water. The rope is around her neck, cutting into her soft flesh. Even in this darkness, I can see the blood. Russell pulls her in, fingers slipping down her wet thighs to bring her on board. Holy fuck, Davo calls, before chundering over Dolores, spew slipping into her open mouth. Her hair settling into the corners of her eyes. I've never respected men called Russell. Russell is the man to watch, the man to fear. You know where you are with a man called Marty. Russell is something else. Russell leans, checking her pulse, fingers probing the holes in her skin. Still alive, he shouts, clamping his mouth over the spew, sliding a tongue across her face, licking the corners of her mouth. He blows, hooking his pinky finger under the thin straps of Dolores' bikini. Touch her. None of us wants to touch those wet and shriveled paps. A boat full of cowards. We can only think of the spew going down Russell's throat, swirling around in his stomach, and be transfixed by his hands as he caresses Dolores' exposed breasts. Cowards, one and all. Marty grabs the throttle, and Dolores flips off the back of the boat, legs opening in a flowering cartwheel, rope entwined in her hair like a ribbon.
So congratulations, W.J. Arthur. W.J. Arthur has made our shortlist in the past. You'll recall Ride It to Heaven.
Yes, absolutely.
And so very thrilling to see this level up to number one spot, like in a very hotly contested round. So huge achievement.
Yeah, a massive achievement, and some similarities between this and Ride It to Heaven. Like they both have that real visceral feeling about it. Like
There's life and death, baby.
Yeah, very much.
And young, like this cusp of something as well.
Yeah. But this one, like, this is a dark story, and the ending is super dark as well. Like, there's no redemption at the ending, but all of the images are so visceral and so charged, like so sexually charged. We're talking about Poe, like filling the story with this sexually charged language in like a situation where it really doesn't belong is like exactly that creepy feeling that WJ is going for here. Like, you know, we have this woman, Dolores, who's surrounded by absolute creeps, and they're feeling her up and like licking her when she's unconscious. And yeah, that comes through in just the language of the piece. We get that vibe, and it's really creepy and unsettling. And
My notes about this story were that I felt changed, which is like a huge thing for a story to achieve. A piece of 500-word flash fiction to have evoked change in me, but not a good one, right? Like this is, you don't leave with a good feeling from this story. You leave with this just sense of disquiet, this kind of like, there's something very not okay about this, but no one's doing anything about it. But where does this also, like the POV character here is very passive and just kind of watching. But that's so appropriate because so are we, and we're just watching it and we're not doing anything. And how can you? But like
watching and weirdly judging, like, I don't trust men like Russell, but you're there too.
Yeah.
And
we're there too as the reader. We're there. We've seen it all. I mean, we've voted it our top story. So like we've raised it up, and yet we're still not okay with it. Like, it's very strange.
Good writing makes you feel something. This definitely made us feel something. And it doesn't mean comfortable and happy, but this is a very uncomfortable piece. And yeah, the main character there, like there's the line about how we're all cowards. And not we're all cowards because we're not doing something. We're all cowards because no one wants to like touch her because she's gross, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
Really
to
fucked
say
up.
the least.
And some other things I loved about this, like I love the way that the author here avoids cliches at all costs. Like we don't have, so Marty doesn't know the route like the back of his hand. He knows it like the veins of his swollen cock. Like every cliche is just spun into something that is way more disturbing and like fits the theme. So yeah, I love the vibe here. It's really unsettling and really intense.
So I want to challenge something here, and I think it's really important to challenge something here because it's something that we discussed at length before we finalised the shortlist, and probably one of the things that made it difficult to decide. And it wasn't just this story, to be honest, but this story in particular, because we're deciding first place, is how it handled the anti-prompt. And now the other two prompts are a bit more clear here. But this is a showing story.
Yeah.
At every stage, this story is showing. And it all comes down to these lines about Russell specifically and telling the reader how to feel about Russell. And so the lines are, I've never respected men called Russell. Russell is the man to watch, the man to fear. You know where you are with a man called Marty. Russell is something else. Now, as far as telling lines go, they're pretty evocative anyway. But yeah, like that is telling us how to feel about Russell. And it's kind of like a misdirect here in this story too, because really sitting outside the story, you're judging everybody in the story, not just Russell. Russell is just one part of this overall fucked up picture, basically. And look, it comes back in the title too, Men Called Russell. It's very central. And you know, that was an example that we gave, like just take one usage and make it central or make it meaningful in your story. And so that's what the author has done here, and we absolutely can get on board with that. But I think it is one of the like challenges of the anti-prompt that have come through, where there's people who take that real faithful approach and try to really like, in this case, avoid showing and really showcase telling. And then there's the lighter touch, as in this case, where we've got one central line that's kind of doing all the heavy lifting. And how do you compare those? And we've always said from the beginning, like, we just want good stories. And so these are just there to inspire. And we hope we've made that clear. Our prompts are there to inspire, and what we want is great stories. As long as we can make an argument, then the story gets through. But yeah, it was something that we had to consider. For
It
this
definitely is. There are stories in the past rounds. There's one specific example that comes to mind where the anti-prompt absolutely wasn't fulfilled in any way that we kind of excluded for the running from that basis. But it's very hard, I think, because the anti-prompt is so open, and especially this anti-prompt is so open. I mean, we also have a story that's being told. It's being recounted, obviously from a narrator who was in the situation. So that's telling in itself. That's also fulfilling the anti-prompt in a way. So I guess we didn't need more than that. But yeah, it is about the best story, and it was a great story.
Great, horrible.
Yeah, probably one of our
What words
darkest,
are we
I
looking
think.
for? And this must be our darkest round to date as well.
Yes.
Like overall, these top 6 stories that we've just read, and we were just saying in the long list episode how we value comedy, and we do. But in this round, it was the darker stuff that rose to the top. And maybe it was that kissing goodbye that brought this kind of darker tone.
You know what, though? Last October was also quite dark. We had the second place story was one about a school shooting, and the winner was about someone committing suicide, right? That was the Tornell story. So maybe it's October. Maybe everyone's just had jack of it by this time of the year, and they're ready for Christmas and ready for something nice.
Well, look, I hope everyone's okay. And I hope everyone's okay after that story. It's pretty dark, and I did feel like a bit sick
Yeah.
reading it and afterwards. And it is that feeling of almost like you're just a passive witness, like the POV character, and just like, I haven't done anything about it. I've just watched it happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's powerful shit. And whatever you make us feel, whether it's we're laughing our ass off or we're feeling a bit depressed and we have to crawl into a cave for a while. Like,
Jump in the shower, basically.
But thank you so much, WJ. That was a very powerful story, and congratulations on leveling up. So the good news amongst all of this is that WJ Arthur wins 1,500 Australian dollars, which is not bad. And on top of that, like we know already, the pointiest trophy in all of the land, which is very exciting. And publication in the Not Quite Right Prize 2025 anthology. So all top 6 stories from this episode and for the previous 3 rounds of the competition this year, all of those stories will be featuring in our anthology, and we're so excited to bring that to you guys, and we hope that you'll get behind us, buy a copy, maybe buy a copy for friends or family. Like, it's such a great mix of just random stories. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe you want to depress someone, maybe you want to give them a laugh, but whatever it is, you're going to give them something to think about, to talk about. I think it makes a pretty good Christmas gift, if I do say so myself. But regardless, like in purchasing a copy of that, you're supporting our authors, you're giving us the ability to pay them for their work, and also supporting us in what we do in bringing the competition out there.
And so the anthology contains all 24 shortlisted stories from 2025, and it also contains the titles and the authors of all of our long-listed stories this year as well.
Yeah.
So if you've long-listed, then you'll see your name in there as well.
And that anthology will be for sale in bookshops locally on the Central Coast. So if you're on the Central Coast, you'll be able to purchase it. And we'll have that information on our social media when it's on sale. But you can also purchase it direct from us once it goes on sale. And of course on Amazon too, because, you know, local shipping, it can be a bit cheaper for you if you're elsewhere in the world.
And if you do purchase it from us, we will sign that for you and write a little message in there for you as well.
Yeah, why not?
And I just want to take a step back because I think you're underselling the trophy. The trophy is not only pointy, it is extremely exclusive. And there are only 8 people, including WJ, who have this trophy in the whole entire world. 8 people. And you can see their lovely faces on our website. And we'll very soon add WJ's lovely face to those pictures as well.
So the other thing worth mentioning for the shortlisted authors is that you've got a new badge too. So if you go back onto the honour roll on our website, you'll get your little badge with your placing on it as well, and you can share that if you'd like to.
Your little bajankle.
And whatever you do with that bajankle is between you and God.
Don't tell God about it. What's wrong with you?
So just about the prize money too, if you have won prize money, so either a wild card or a placing today, I like to wait and let you listen to the episode and hopefully get that little surprise when we call your name out. But if you'd like to email me and let me know that you've heard it, or even if you post on social media and tag us in, I'll know that you've heard the news. And then we'll be able to send your prize money.
And by the time this episode drops, we will also have updated the leaderboard in the community. So it'll be interesting to see how these results affect the ranking. I know there's a lot of new people on the list, but there's also a couple of people who've made it here before. So,
So, yeah, just head to the community to get that update and see who's up there.
But that's not it for the October round. We've still got a little bit coming through. We've still got our Daredevil episodes, which will start coming out in about a week's time. So, I mean, those episodes are for the benefit of the Daredevil, obviously, but they're also for everyone else's benefit.
I feel like they're the ones
we
people
learn
love
stuff.
the most. Like, people comment all the time saying, oh, that's where I learn everything.
That's why we go in deep. That's why we tell our Daredevils to order some lube. We're out of coins.
We're out of coins.
We're actually out of
Shit,
coins.
We're going to have to add to the IOU.
Yeah. And so, yeah, those Daredevil episodes will be the last we hear of the anti-prompt, at least for now, for the foreseeable future. And we're coming back in 2026 with something we're really excited about, and that's the write-off. I cannot express this enough. I'm so excited for the write-off next year. I'm really excited. It's going to be so much fun. We're each going to come up with our own sets of prompts, and we're going to fight over them. We're going to fight for the best sets of prompts.
To the death.
And we're going to fight for all of you, for everyone that is entering. We want you to follow us.
That's it. And there's been some banter on social media, like people sort of hinting at who they might choose of their parents between us, right? Choose your favorite parent. But like, really, the whole thing is about choosing your prompts, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're fighting to win you over with the prompts, not just with our witty repartee, if you will. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. And it also just like, I think letting loose a little bit.
Yeah.
I think like the anti-prompt, it was great, but it was constrictive. And I like the idea that it's just going to be open now and a bit more relaxed. Like, just chill, just do what you want.
Write a great story.
Yeah, I hope so. And like, I know, like I've been talking to friends who are writing stories and competition's heating up. There's a lot of competitions out there. There's a lot of opportunities to write for fun and for sport and to win money potentially. But, you know, I know not everyone's really competing for the money. We're all mostly just competing against ourselves, you know, to do a PB kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get that everyone's sort of fatigued. And I guess that's why I just want to make it like so much easier and just give us what you've got on the day. And that's what we want. So I'm very excited for everyone to just let loose and...
As you say, let your freak flag fly.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
without inhibitions.
That's it. And look, I don't want to suggest, and we've just had like in this episode, a bunch of quite serious stories. So it's not about like everything being vajankles necessarily, although I do appreciate that. But it's just about like where you are at right now. And maybe you're in a comedic place right now. Maybe you're in a dark place right now. Maybe you're just in an experimental place right now. And you're like, look, fuck it. Prize be damned. I'm just going to do something different and I'm going to challenge myself, or I'm going to just do something a bit weird. And you know what? Those are the glories that like really hit hard when you do something out there and it hits. So that's what I want to see as well.
Absolutely. And look, just to end things for this episode, thanks again to everyone who entered this round. It has been such a good send-off for the anti-prompt. Like, what a great note to end it on. The shortlist was amazing. The long list was amazing. All the stories were great. We love that this is like everyone's safe place to just let loose with just the craziest shit.
You call it a safe place, but it is very much an unsafe place all the time.
For us, it's unsafe, but for our entrance, it's very safe.
So yes, thank you for bringing your A game to this final round for 2025, and we can't wait to see you again in 2026. If you don't have your tickets yet for January, we do have annual passes on sale now, so that's ticket for all 4 rounds next year at a substantial discount. It's like 28% or something like that.
Exactly.
So if you do think you'll be entering, that's the best option, I think, if you can afford to do that. All the Daredevil spots are filled, but we do still have some coaching packages.
As of the time of recording.
That's a 30-minute one-on-one chat with me online over Zoom, where we'll get into the detail of your story and unpack it just as we might with a Daredevil, but in private. But if you do hold an annual pass or purchase a ticket down the track, you'll be able to have an opportunity for Daredevils in subsequent rounds of the competition. Otherwise, we hope to see you in January, and we look forward to seeing how you embrace this new challenge.
Absolutely. But hang around after the outro music, where we'll reveal our vague tweets. Which stories we were talking about, it could be yours. So hang around. And we'll be back next week with our very first Daredevil. And until then, ride on.
Right on.
Thank thank you for listening to Not Quite Right. If you'd like to reach us via email or follow us on social media, you can find all the links on our website, notquiterightpodcast.com. That's WRITE. And if you enjoyed the show, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcasting app.
Something doesn't seem quite right.
So now we're at the point of the episode
Oh
where
my
we get
God,
to...
stop talking about points.
Oh my God.
We get it. We get the point, okay? We got it.
Is it clocking to you that I'm standing on business right now? Okay.
I'll clock it to you in a minute.
You'll clock me. Yeah. So this is the time where we get
Stand on your business.
like
And then you'll be sorry.
We celebrated too early, didn't we? We
Yeah.
had some drinks and
Yeah.
now it's time to record the post-credit scene. But look, it's the time of... I'm trying to like police my own words. I'm like, it was...
Your wine is like...
Yeah, it's rickety,
sloshing.
isn't it?
It's sloshing from hither and thither.
It's the time of the round where we get to reveal our vague tweets. And this time I had some vague tweets.
Oh,
Listen,
yeah?
I had 4 vague tweets.
Oh, wow.
Which is a personal best for me. I'm
All right.
trying.
Okay.
I'm actually trying.
Yeah, I know.
Twitter is not my native habitat, but
I know.
but I'm trying. So I had 4. I'll start with those because you've got several printed pages.
I've got binders.
You have binders of them. So okay. Someone sneakily snuck a flesh fiction entry into the Not Quite Right prize, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm not going to mention the name of this person in case they don't want to be
okay.
named and shamed for their erotica. But the story was called Between Nothing and Nowhere. And they've signed up for a coaching session with you. So you're going to be able to, talk about their little erotic fiction.
Don't imply things.
It's like bring your pillows, your pajamas.
It's not going to be a pillow fight. That's not how this works.
Sorry, I was imagining something else.
Clearly.
Anyway, onwards. To the author of this story, I sincerely apologise for reading a completely inappropriate meaning to the title of your story. It was, in fact, deeply heartfelt and emotional. I need to get my mind out of the gutter. And I called this out on the long list episode, and that was I Need This Like I Need a Head in the Hole by Sarah Kennedy. And do I need to explain it?
No, you don't. But also, your mind's still not out of the gutter. So where are we?
That's true. But you've got to admit, was it just me or...
No comment.
Okay. All right. Next one, Not Quite Right prize story with a very attention-grabbing title, Will the Story Deliver? And that was the highly inappropriately titled CUNT by Greg Schmidt. Well, appropriate for our purposes.
Yeah.
Very appropriate for the Not Quite Right prize. But okay, my question to you, is there any other prize that you could submit a story like that to and get a shout out and a thumbs up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think the fine people over at New York City Midnight would embrace that kind of title?
Well, to be honest, no, the fine people wouldn't. But the not quite right people would.
Yeah. Well done, Greg, anyway. Congratulations, lucky and very, very talented author of this story. You're my very first outright favourite this round. Masterful use of close third and single effect. Well done. And that was the runner-up, Michael Stone, with Dead Beef. A very impactful story, and it's such an amazing experience. Finding these gems that just hit you so hard. If you must. You pay it. You're the one who had the...
You said it.
Okay. The next story is favourite number 2. This one is all about voice and prose, filled with wonderfully original and evocative turns of phrase. And that was, of course, our winner this round, Men Called Russell by W.J. Arthur.
So it takes a lot to get a tweet out of you is what you're trying to say. You have to come first or second.
Actually, yeah. You may be right. Or write something really dirty. Or that'll get a tweet out of me. All right, so those were my 4. So if you were one of my 4... you should feel very privileged. You're in a very elite club.
Very special.
And who have you got?
That was rude.
Oh, and
who have you? What
and
shit
Amanda.
have you got?
And Amanda, tell us about your vague tweets. How would you like me to fucking say it?
No,
then?
you said
Okay.
it. It's fine.
So Amanda, tell us about your vague tweets.
All right. Well, I do have a few, so I might have to move through at pace through some of these. But here we go. So I laughed and I said, it seems some authors are determined to write for their audience. Thanks for the laughs. And that was Cara Robson with the Fairy Godmother's monologue to be performed alone on stage, directly addressing the audience. And of course, that was the Vajankle story.
That was the Vajankle story.
That was always going to get a shout out. Next, I said, I take it all back. Maybe we do need content warnings. And that was Russ Gurney's Buy One, Get One Free. And we did allude to this in the long list episode, but in the story, the guy gets his penis cut off.
Yeah.
And it's intense. And I wasn't ready for it.
No one's ready to get their penis cut off.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
The Spanish circumcision.
All right. And then we had, well, that story went in a direction I was not expecting. And that was K.A. Scott's aptly titled Surprise, which was actually a murder-suicide. So quite intense, but it just kind of came like, whoo, out of nowhere. I was not expecting that. So very shocking. Then my first, yes, my comments, so much rich sensory detail and a real sense of being transported to another place. The character development is next level. I wish we saw more stories like this. And that was R.C. Barajas in the English way. And then this was a more broad comment, and I said, it will never cease to amaze me that some people pay to enter our competition and then submit quite obvious ChatGPT generated crap. Where's the fun in that? And of course, I'm not going to call out that story. No. And look, there's no way of proving it, although we have some suspicions that we've been discussing.
Some methods. Yeah. Oh, look, let's not get into it here, but it's hard because if you suspect that someone's used it for like a piece of their writing and you can't prove it, but like the signs point to yes, how do you deal with it? It's not definitive.
And I don't want to accuse people.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a pretty big accusation. But yeah, I'll just say I've got some lingering suspicions that I haven't really pursued. And I've just landed on my first fanfic of the round. Why do I feel like it won't be the last? Naughty, naughty. And of course, it was not the last, but the first I came across was Kenneth Rowland's Not Quite Smitten, which we had a little reading of in the long list episode. So honestly, thank you, Kenneth. Like, it's absolute nonsense, but I'm here for it.
So much fun.
And then a strong start, first cab off the rank and for the day of my reading, managed the elusive double twist. Twists work well when they're a cherry on top, and here they were accompanied by evocative sensory detail and a strong sense of place. And that was Jennifer Quayle's The Last Friday. So that sort of went in one direction, took us in another, and then another again. And that's very clever, and it was very well done, I have to say.
We don't see many double twists though, do we? Like
No.
a twist on top of a twist.
Yeah, it's a lot to cram into 500 words, but it was well done. And that story didn't make the long list. So this is just one of those examples of like, you did a great job and you did the thing you were trying to do really well, but it still didn't quite get there. So that's frustrating. But I just want to validate that was a good story. And then we had, and another strong contender, I feel Poe would be proud of the author of this story. If I were to set this story to music, I'd choose Bittersweet Symphony. And that was Daniel Clark Mudge's To Autumn.
Dun, 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 dun.
Go on.
'Cause it's a bittersweet symphony, this life. Trying to make ends meet. You're a slave to money, then you die.
Okay, now I'm getting depressed. No, change.
I
Wait,
can
change, I can change, I can change.
'Cause I'm here in my moan. I'm here in my moan. I'm a million different people from one day to the next. I can't change my moan. No, 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 no,
no. Oh. I don't know if I share your view of the lyrics. Anyway,
okay.
I have to look it up.
I don't know. I've never looked at the lyrics. I just sing along to the song in the car.
All right. And on songs, the next one says, it's the end of the world as we know it in Not Quite Right Prize Judging Land. 2 stories in a row delivering a somewhat bleak outlook on our potential future or lack thereof on planet Earth. And the first one was Daniel Clark Mudge's To Autumn, and then Quinn Fisher's Fireworks for the Babies. So some quite dark stories about kissing the world goodbye.
Yeah.
Current frontrunner for story idea I want to steal is this story with a disturbing look at humanity's relationship with technology, and that was S.L. Rennie's I Fucking Love Angel, or Angel. And this was like an AI lover. And there were a few.
David Boreanaz's TV show from the 90s, the Buffy offshoot.
Oh, Angel. Oh, okay. Wow. Deep cut. Not that deep, but also like fucking irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But thank you for chiming in. I appreciate it. And keep that. You know what I mean? Keep it.
Okay.
Adding to that list.
Angel.
Go on. I'm loving it. We should have just started in this mood. I just wish I had a drip that would just keep me in this mood the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. We're halfway there. Adding to that list, we have this story, such a fun and unique POV that I'd love to delve into further. Also appropriately spooky for a lightning-filled Halloween night here on the Central Coast, and that was Natalie Mack's Bloody Mary. And the POV I'm referencing there is the POV of Bloody Mary,
Yeah.
which was so cool.
Yes.
Like, I just enjoyed that. It was kind of sad, the story, but this fun idea of like Bloody Mary, like sort of not trying to hurt anyone, but like people get hurt. It was really fun. And then we had landing on my third yes with a story featuring out of this world mastery. I just had this image of you not editing me saying featuring and just leaving me to
Featuring.
say featuring. Just to fuck with me and not changing
Like when you said
it.
twinner.
Yeah, when I said twinner because I was too drunk. Now I'm featuring. Anyways. Landing on my third yes with the story featuring out of this world mastery of character voice. I feel like this would be a fun one to read aloud. Here's hoping Ed and Dean agree. And that was Emily Rinkemer's For Kevin's Sake. Now,
Oh.
yeah, we didn't end up reading that one aloud.
It was close. It was
yeah,
very
it was
close.
one of those ones that
was
were
in the
up
top
there.
10.
Yeah. And so that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because it was fun.
Great title too, For Kevin's Sake. We
Yeah.
should have called that one out.
Next, I said, ooh, love to see a creative take on the action prompt. We'll be calling this one out on the podcast for sure. And we did. That was Philippa Statkis with NOVA or Nova. And that was the one where we had the code, which was goodbye_kiss.exe.
Oh, yeah.
Just shut down this system. And it was very clever. And again, like, it's fun to see those ones that sort of veer away from the anti-prompt and really embrace either the word or action prompt instead. Next, I said, another yes, a story that was simple and sweet with a confident naming emotions approach to the anti-prompt that delivered emotional resonance. And that was Melissa Jorn's How Do You Feel Today? Next, I said, sneaking in a bit of judging before we record, and I can't recall if this was the first or not, but it's certainly rare. This story not only gave me goosebumps, it made me cry. My first favourite for the round, and that was Sky Moore's When I Was 12. And, you know, this was one that didn't feature on the shortlist, and I think probably because it was just something that I very deeply connected with very personally.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean I should push it up the list in that regard. Like I sort of have to kind of step back and be a little bit more objective or what have you.
A little behind the scenes here, but this is a common experience for me of when we get to the shortlist stage, I'm reading through your ones that you've like rated really high. And sometimes they're ones that I just don't connect with personally, but I read the comments and you're like, this is exactly what it's like. But like it reminds you of a very specific situation that you connected with very deeply.
And this is the thing, like it's hard in a competition because is this not what you're writing stories for, right?
Yeah.
Like to have this human connection. And it did, like very deep. I was crying, like, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only person who would experience the story that way. And this isn't to say it's a bad story either and it didn't deserve to be up there. Like I don't want it to sound that way either. It was more just like, you know, once we weighed everything up, not just how I reacted to it the first time I read it, but also all the other factors that go into storytelling. Other stories stood out for other reasons, but I don't know if it's helpful or not helpful to hear that, but I connected with it and it meant a lot to me. So thank you for that story, Sky. And for the next one, a little shift in tone, but I said, don't think I don't see exactly what you're doing. And that was, in fact, Holly Sky Sadowski with The Backdoor Escape. And that was a story about Ned and Andy, or if you will, Ed and Mandy, but I won't, so it's Ned and Andy. But thank you, Holly, and I know you didn't long list.
But we still love your stories. Like, we love reading them. And I'll say this, it is getting harder to pick a Holly Sadowski story because we're getting so many, like, unhinged fanfics that, like, you've got to up your game, Holly. Only a phone up my ass? Go harder.
Oh my God, do not issue that challenge. All right, we're getting there. Got a few more.
How many more? 6, 7.
Exactly. So I said another favourite. Looks like the competition is heating up in the Not Quite Right prize. It could be your story if you went with a booth for the word prompt, which wasn't that helpful, that little clue. Yeah. But in fact, that was Dawn Goulet's Step Right Up, which came fourth. Yeah, that was one of my favourites. Yeah. And that was one that I fought to keep in the shortlist. So you're welcome, Dawn. But I really enjoyed the voice of that one, as we've already established. Next, I said, immediately followed by a yes. I've long felt that batch 8 contained a certain magic, and that's proven true again this round. This one could be yours if you opted for an idiomatic use of the word prompt. And that was Lorena Oates with A Blush Moon Rising Over the Mountains of Ida. And so when I say idiomatic usage of the word, the line was, on stage talent malfunction, I repeat, colossal costume revelation, unraveling to boot. Yes. So the to boot.
This was a good story.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Wardrobe malfunction, the boob falling out, if I recall correctly.
If you have a photographic memory thereof, yeah. No, it was good fun. So thank you, Lorena, for that story. And next I said an easy yes for the Not Quite Right prize long list and a contender for shortlist if I have my way. A unique literal take on the anti-prompt, plenty of poignant subtext, and an ending that managed to satisfy despite not answering all our lingering questions. And guess what? It did not make the shortlist, this story. But this was Brandon Wu's Upping the Ante with the poker game.
It was close.
It's bloody close.
One of those cusps.
So good. I really like this story. And I think, Brandon, if you hadn't considered it already, you should shop that around for publication. Yeah. It's a really beautiful story. Next came another Not Quite Right prize favourite, question mark. And honestly, at this point, like, I was feeling like this is next level. I've got so many high-rated stories. I'm really struggling here. But I said it was a slow old start, guys, but it seems we're on a roll. I would call this story a guaranteed shortlister, but there's just one problem. I'm struggling to make a case as to how the author addressed the anti-prompt. And this was Stephen Huff's The Way Out, which actually ended up coming third. And we did, in fact, manage to make an argument, and in fact, quite a strong argument for how that should end up there on the shortlist. So it wasn't an issue. But I think what I was struggling with at times was just how much showing was being done in these excellent stories. And I'm like, yeah, that's why they're great.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of anathema to the anti-prompt challenge in itself. But in fact, there was a clear standout reason why it should be there.
That's the struggle with the anti-prompt.
Yeah, one of the many struggles. But yeah. So second last one, I said, oof, another yes. I told you batch 8 was magic. And just to digress here for a second, I just want to talk about batch 8. And it's in fact batch 8 and batch 9. Okay, it's the two batches. I was mentioning batch 8 online, but it's actually batch 8 and batch 9. They're always great.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but in like this entire time, so the past 2 years, those two batches have always been really great. And like, is it confirmation bias or something? Like, I just keep coming back and go, oh yeah, let's give these stories more credit. I don't know, but I don't think so. Life be like that sometimes.
It's the nature of statistics, right? There's still clumping and there's coincidences and it's all weird and
yeah, clumping's a good word.
Anyway, let's not go there.
I won't.
For once, let's not fucking go there.
Okay.
Right, go on.
Approved. All right. Anyway, I said, but again, I'm struggling to identify the anti-prompt approach. Here's hoping Ed or Dean can make a compelling case for these stories because I would love to showcase them. And this was one of those ones that just narrowly missed the shortlist, and it was The Clicker by Heather Pownall. And we discussed this one at length, and it came very, very really close. So that's probably very annoying to hear, Heather, but hopefully a little bit validating. But again, please put that story out for publication because it's a great story. An eerie story, you might say. And finally, to the author of this story, just wanted to say thanks for the Easter eggs. Hope you didn't have to do anything too wild to procure them. And that's a little reference back to
The bunny
Easter
blowjob.
Bunny. Yeah, the bunny. Thank you. The Easter Bunny is Coming by Tabby Hunt. But this particular story was Sally Rises Simons, a woman with a knack for choosing the wrong sort of man, ironically ends up dead at the hands of her best friend who should have checked the safety. And I'm not sure if I have got all the Easter eggs, and I think we should go through and find the Easter eggs, and maybe Sally can let us know if we missed anything.
Okay.
First Easter egg must be the reference to the bunny ears, surely.
Oh, yeah. And the MC Hammer reference to
naturally.
your story, Poster Boy. He's the devil incarnate. Remember what happened with Dave and Eddie and Dean. Well, we know that reference for sure.
Yeah, so we've got Eddie and Dean. But Dave makes a mention. I assume this is the Dave of the old school days. So thanks, Sally. That's fun.
Mandy, is that you? It's me, Paulie, from Sydney High.
Oh, Paulie, is it?
Yeah.
I did go on one singular date with a Paul once. He bought some lollies. Okay, we went on a date. It was like my first ever date, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think. And we went to the movies at Hoyt's Erina, as you do. Like, it was pretty chill. We were young. We were, I think, like 14 or something like that. And we went and we bought our tickets and whatever. And then he bought lollies and he didn't share any lollies with me. Like,
No, that's fucked up.
that's pretty fucked up. Thank you. I was like, you don't have to buy my ticket. And he didn't. I bought my own ticket. But like, you bought lollies and then you're just going to scarf all the lollies?
Yeah, no, that's
weird.
it's unacceptable. No wonder there wasn't a second date after that. Okay. Continuing. What are the chances? My death was stupid enough. Drank too much vodka during frat hazing. You? I can't
Now,
believe
listen, sorry. I need to call that part out because we don't do frat hazing
We don't
in
have
this
frats.
country. We don't have frats, first of all. We don't do hazing.
We do hazing, but we'd never call it hazing. We'd
No,
call it like
it's called Tuesday night.
It's just part of the deal. Like, it's normalized fucking abuse. That's what it is.
It's not a special thing.
We don't have a word for it. It's just like, you know how fish don't have a word for water?
Sally, we look forward to introducing you to our customs when you visit here.
She looks upward and gives me an air kiss goodbye. Back at Paulie's pad, a wing sprouts from my shoulder blade and I discover I can touch things after all, forevermore.
Oh, that last line. So first of all, there's the can touch this.
Yeah, there's the can touch this.
And then finally, a little bit of Poe right at the end there. Or not quite Poe, if you will. Thank you, Sally. And did we get them all? Did we get a few extras that weren't really references?
Yeah, we may have.
Did we insert ourselves into things that we shouldn't have?
Story of my life.